Let's queer up politics. Louisiana Governor Bel Edwards promises to veto every anti-LGBTQ+ bill. Louisiana Governor Bel Edwards, a Democrat, said that he intends to veto a package of bills passed by the GOP-dominated legislature that targets the LGBTQ+ community, including a ban on gender-affirming care for transgender minors and the state's version of a Don't Say Gay bill, HB 466. Edwards has said throughout the legislative session, which ended Thursday, that he opposes the series of LGBTQ+ bills. If Edwards blocks the bills, lawmakers can convene for a veto session. Overriding a veto requires support from 2/3 of both the House and the Senate, and Republicans currently hold a 2/3 majority in both chambers. Louisiana legislators have only convened for 2 veto sessions since 1974. The bills have not yet reached Edwards' desk. But when asked during a news conference if he would veto them, he replied, quote, "That is my expectation," end quote. HB 648 bans doctors and nurses from prescribing transgender youth proper medical treatment, puberty blockers, hormone treatments, and surgery. Overall, these bills target queer youth and schools. All major medical associations have condemned similar measures, saying the draconian laws will damage LGBTQ+ youth's mental and physical health. Gender-affirming care is safe and recommended by these organizations. So, unfortunately, we're not alone. By us, I mean Florida. We're not alone in being...
Meaning there are other southern states.
There are other southern states, and not even necessarily all southern, but there are other states that are trying to criminalize life-saving and life-improving care. And as upsetting, or as glad I am to be not a minor, it's we're being affected and impacted as well, and by we are, I mean transgender adults. So there's so many implications and far-reaching impacts that these kind of bills are going to have if they are passed. And I hope that the session, they don't have a veto or they don't try to overturn the veto, because that would be really cool to see Louisiana as a little bit of a brighter spot in the rest of the South.
Right? Mm-hmm. You know, you're allowed to be human and a Republican. And I think that that's what the Louisiana governor is showing us, gender-affirming care saves lives, okay? Many organizations have stated, there are studies that state that, I love that he's putting down his hand and saying, hey, I'm going to veto all that crap that comes my way.
I'm curious to both observations on the table. Is Louisiana going to overturn a Democratic governor's veto in Louisiana? What do you think?
Yes.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
It's and the issue here is if we think that, that's an illustration to answer to the ears that are still at play of deciding whether you're going to vote or not. It's not a question of whether you can win control of your House or your Senate. In Louisiana, we can't. In Florida, we can't. But it's very important when you're on the teeter-totter of the 2/3 supermajority that you stop it. Because when you do have a Democratic governor or whatever more progressive, let's not even say Democratic, but a more progressive thought process, you need to ensure that you do not have a supermajority in your state, because if you do, vetoes can be overridden, which is what is getting ready to happen in Louisiana. Elections matter.
I would love to see a national law, and I know this is completely unrealistic, that says the state, being the United States or any of its states or territories, does not have the right to interfere between a doctor and their patient.
Yeah.
Now, of course, that would be a backdoor to overturning Roe, which would mean, or to overturning Dobbs, which was last year, that overturned Roe versus Wade. But it's so needed, and not just for abortion, and not just for trans kids. It's needed for all patients, so that they can know that they don't just have a quasi-legal right to doctor-patient confidentiality, but also that they have the right to doctor-patient fair advice, fair treatment, realistic treatment. Because I can tell you, very few people in the legislatures, ours or across the country, are actual doctors.
I hope that, what you just said, that, that common cause that we have with women at this time, and the fight against, the allowing abortion in the state, like it's happening for example, it just happened in North Carolina, where 5 women, congresswomen, Republican, are voting against, the state And that we can find, common cause with women, the same in the state of Louisiana, that they can vote with us because at some point, we're ruling against the decision by a doctor with a patient and a therapist, or, to make that decision for the patient. And it's not state lawmakers that are men or, or just anyone overruling our rights. So I hope they can find this common cause in the state of Louisiana as well, and they can vote with us to, to oppose the 2/3, majority.
To me, the through line between the overlap between reproductive justice and transgender rights it's bodily autonomy. Do you have the right to control what happens to your body and what your healthcare choices are?
Yeah.
And the, quote unquote party of freedom is not standing behind that, allowing people to have the freedom to decide what their proper healthcare choices are.
Yeah.
We are Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only live daily LGBTQ+ evening news show from Happening Out Television Network. In the model of PBS and NPR, we educate, inform, and entertain by supporting the 10 pillars of the LGBTQ+ community, with more than 100,000 a week watching on Roku, Apple Television, and other channels. To keep the stories going, we accept donations with 100% transparency. Stay updated and live authentically with Queer News Tonight.